Okay, hello everybody. So today as well we'll be discussing Sutta. First of all, let's pay homage to the Triple Gem. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arhato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arhato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, friends, we will be discussing a sutta from Majjhima Nikaya. The name of the sutta is Cetokhila Sutta. So, khila means thorns or some sharp object. So let's call it a knife. So this is about a knife being struck in the mind. So cheto means mind. So there are these defilements in the mind. They're like thorns, or they're like spears being struck in the mind, which will create problems. So Bhikkhu Sujato has translated the word Cetokhila as hard-heartedness, but the literal meaning of this word is some sharp spear being struck in the mind. So we will see what it means. So at that time, the Buddha was in Savatthi in the Jetavana monastery. The Buddha addressed the bhikkhus, and the Buddha said this: bhikkhus, when a monk has not given up five kinds of hard-heartedness, that means this Cetokhila. Cetokhila means the spears in the mind. So when a monk has not given up these five kinds of spears in the mind, and severed five shackles of the heart, and he explains another five bonds. So he has used the word shackles to describe this, Bhante Sujato, but the Pali word is Chetaso Vinibandha. Chetaso Vinibandha. It means bonds in the mind. So there are these spears in the mind and bonds in the mind. So if a monk has not given up these five kinds of spears in the mind and the five kinds of shackles of the heart, or bonds of the mind, the Buddha said it is not possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, or maturity in this teaching and training. So one has to give up these five kinds of spears and the five kinds of bonds in order to improve the practice, in order to practice the Buddha's teaching and achieve the results. So the Buddha explained the five kinds of spears. So the first spear is: a monk has doubts about the teacher. They are uncertain, undecided, and lacking confidence. This is the first spear in the mind. So when you have a spear struck in your body, it will always cause pain. So just like that, this is a spear, the doubt towards the Buddha. So the Buddha is the teacher, and we practice the Buddha's teachings. So if someone doubts the Buddha, then he will be reluctant to practice the teachings of the Buddha, because it is not easy to practice the path towards Nibbana, because the one who practices the path will have to sacrifice a lot. They will have to give up sensual pleasures. So if they doubt the Buddha, if they are uncertain, if they are undecided, and if they lack confidence, they will not be able to practice virtue, concentration, and wisdom and achieve liberation. So this uh, is the first spear in the heart, spear in the mind. So the Buddha said, this being so, uh, so let me share this again. Okay. So I've been saying that the first spear in the heart is doubt towards the teacher, doubt towards the Buddha. So the Buddha said, if someone has doubt towards the Buddha, their mind is not inclined towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. They wouldn't strive. Their minds will not incline towards practicing the path. So the Buddha said, Yoso bhikkhave bhikkhu sattari kankati vichikichati. If they doubt the Buddha, uh, nadhimichati na sampasidati. So they will not like practicing the path. They will not have a pleasant mind when they practice the path. Uh, Tassa chittang na namati. That is how the Buddha said this. Their mind will not incline towards the practice, towards striving. Chittang na namati adappaya anuyogaya satachaya padhanaya. So one has to strive, they have to put effort to practice virtue, concentration, and wisdom. And if they doubt the teacher, if they doubt the Buddha, uh, their minds will not incline towards putting effort and striving to practice the path. So this is the first spear in the heart that should be given up. And if they haven't given up, they uh, wouldn't be able to practice the path. And the second spear is if a monk, so he's talking about a monk. So one becomes a monk in the Buddha's dispensation to realize the Four Noble Truths. But if that monk doubt the Buddha, then he cannot practice the path. And if that monk doubts uh, the teaching, the Dhamma, then still he will not be able to practice virtue, concentration, and wisdom, and their mind will not incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. They will not be able to strive. This is the second spear in the heart. And then this third one is they have doubts about the Sangha. So, Sangha is the community. So, community of monks and nuns. So, there are people who think that when the Buddha uses the word Sangha, since the literal meaning of the word Sangha is community, people think that all the lay people who are practicing who are Buddhists are the Buddha's community, so they also belong in the Sangha, but that's not the case. So uh, the literal meaning is community. So when you say community, everybody should be included in the community. But the word the Buddha used the word Sangha to describe those who have gone forth, those who have become nuns, monks, and nuns. So the Sangha is described as Ubato Sangha. Ubato means two, the two Sanghas, the Bhikkhu Sangha and Bhikkhuni Sangha. So when you say Sangha in the Theravada tradition, Sangha means the Bhikkhu Sangha and the Bhikkhuni Sangha. And lay disciples are not included in that context. But the literal meaning of the word Sangha is community. So it's like the word Buddha. The word Buddha literally means the one who has realized. So now, if somebody realizes something, they cannot say I'm a Buddha because uh, just because they have realized something, and the literal meaning of the word Buddha is the one who realized. And in the Theravada tradition, we cannot use the Buddha to describe that person has realized something. So the Buddha is not a word that everybody can use. It is reserved to describe the Buddha himself, the teacher. But there are Mahayana traditions who take these traditions. The people in this tradition, they take the word Buddha literally, and they call themselves Buddhas. So everybody who practices virtue, and everybody who tries to meditate, they call them Buddhas. But in Theravada tradition, the word Buddha is it is it, the Buddha the word Buddha should only be used to describe the Buddha himself, the teacher, not anybody. The others, even Venerable Sariputta, cannot use the word Buddha. So just like that, the word Sangha literally means the community, but in Theravada tradition, in the Pali Canon, the word Sangha is used to describe the Bhikkhu Sangha and the Bhikkhuni Sangha. So at the time of the Buddha, within the Sangha, there were Arahants, there were non-returners, there were once returners, there were Sotapannas, so stream entrants. So those who have realized the Four Noble Truths and has achieved these stages of enlightenment. So if they doubt the Buddha's community of monks and nuns, they will not be able to practice the path because they will not believe it, or they're not ready to accept that there are people, or there are disciples of the Buddha who have achieved the stages of enlightenment as per the teachings of the Buddha. And if they doubt the Sangha, still they cannot practice the path. So the Buddha said, their minds will not incline towards practicing the path and striving. And the next one is, if they have doubt about the training. So the Buddha said, Bhikkhu Sikhaya Kankati Vijikichati Nadi Muchati. So Sikha here means uh, Vinaya, or the precepts. So the Buddha laid down precepts, and Buddhist. So for monks, there are thousands of precepts which were laid down by the Buddha, and a monk has to mm, abide by these precepts, and they have to practice the precepts. And there can be monks who will doubt these precepts and will think, what is the reason for practicing these precepts. So in the modern day, we cannot live uh, practicing these precepts, and they will kind of uh, loosely live a monk life, so without striving to practice the precepts. So if they doubt the training, if they doubt the precepts, sikha means the training, or here it means precepts. So if they do not practice the precepts laid down by the Buddha, still they will not be able to strive and achieve enlightenment. So their minds will not incline towards practicing the path. This is the fourth uh, spear in the heart. The fifth one is a monk is angry and upset with their spiritual companions, resentful and closed off. So uh, the Buddha, in many places, the Buddha uh, praised harmony within the Sangha. So, the monks have to live in harmony in monasteries so that they'll be able to practice the path and help each other, so that mutual respect and support is important to practice the path. So if a monk is angry and upset with their spiritual companions, if a monk is angry with other monks, resentful, and they will not be able to practice the path because they have anger and resentment towards the the fellow monks who are practicing the path, and his mind will not incline towards practicing the Buddha's teachings. So these are the five uh, spears in the heart. So they have to. So the Buddha said you have to give up these five spears in order to practice the Dhamma. So so these are the five kinds of uh, spears in the heart. They haven't given up. So if they haven't given up, then there's no way that they can achieve enlightenment. And the Buddha said that there are five shackles or five bonds of the heart, which have to be uh, eradicated. So the first shackle or first bond is that the Buddha said, if a monk isn't free of greed, desire, fondness, thirst, passion, and craving for sensual pleasures. So sensual pleasures should be given up if someone needs to realize the Four Noble Truths, if someone needs to achieve enlightenment. Sensual pleasures have to be given up. And if a monk isn't free of greed, desire, fondness, thirst, passion, and craving for sensual pleasures. So these words describe the nature of that attachment. So the Buddha used the word avigata chando, avigata pemu, avigata pipasu, avigata parilahu, avigata tanho. Chanda means liking, pema means love, pipasa means thirst, parilaha means the inner fire, avigata tanho, tanha means craving. So that has to be given up. So if a bhikkhu, if a monk is not free from this strong attachment to sensual pleasures, then their mind will not incline towards practicing the path. Their minds will not incline towards striving or putting effort to practice virtue, concentration, and wisdom. So this is the first shackle or first bond. So the next one is a monk isn't free of greed for the body. So greed towards the body. So we have, so even in the last sutta we learned, those who have not given up the attachment to sensual pleasures and the body will be frightened, will be afraid of facing death. So in this sutta as well, the Buddha used he explained the attachment towards sensual pleasures and the attachment towards the body. So if a monk isn't free of greed for the body, so we have attachment to our body, right? Uh, so that attachment is a big obstacle to achieve enlightenment. So, uh, so uh, how do you remove this attachment? So the Buddha explained kaya anupassana, mindfulness towards the body, in order to realize the real nature of the body and to understand that it is fragile and it is impermanent, and there is nothing permanent and nothing uh, truly valuable to cling to in the body, and to understand the real nature of samsara. So if someone has that wisdom, they can abandon the attachment towards the body. So if a monk isn't free of greed for the body, their minds will not incline uh, towards practicing the path. And then there is the second shackle of the heart, or this, the second bond. And the next one is, if a mendicant, if a monk isn't free of greed for form. So form means rupa. Uh, so when you say body, it is just the body. But when you say form, it is not only your body, the material things that we cling to, and the body, our body is prominent in that because we are more attached to our body than anything else. But form does not limit. Uh, the, when you say form, it's kind of it has a bigger scope than the body, because all other material things will also be included in form, because we get attached to other material things as well. Uh, so so that is the third shackle. That is the third one. And the next one is, they eat as much as they like until their belly is full, then indulge in the pleasures of sleeping, lying down, and drowsing. So they are lazy. So there are monks, even at the time of the Buddha, there were monks who didn't take the spiritual practice seriously, and uh, they ate as much as they like. They didn't control the food and put more effort to practicing the path. So they ate as much as they like until their belly is full, and they got indulged in the pleasures of sleeping and lying down and drowsing. So they are so lazy, and that is also a bond which have to be given up. So that bond should be given up. So this is the fourth bond. The next one is, they lead the spiritual life, hoping to be reborn in one of the orders of gods, thinking, by this precept or observance or fervent austerity or spiritual life, may I become one of the gods. So if they have the intention to be born as in one of the heavenly realms, and enjoy all the pleasures in that heavenly realm, and their spiritual practice is directed towards enjoying the heavenly pleasures. So that is a bond. That is a bond that should be given up, and you should direct your practice towards achieving enlightenment. But it doesn't mean that you should not be born in heavenly world. So there are people who completely reject the the heavenly worlds, because they think that nibbana is what is important, and we don't want to be born in heaven. Uh, but but there are many other suttas that where the Buddha praised the the protection in the heavenly worlds, because if somebody is born in a heavenly world, they will have time to practice the Buddha's teachings, and there is a good community in the heavenly worlds who practice the Buddha's teachings. So in the progressive Dhamma talk of the Buddha, he explained generosity, dana, sila, and sagga. Sagga means heaven. Dana means generosity. Sila means virtue. Dana kata, sila kata, sagga kata. Sagga kata means the Dhamma talk about the heavenly pleasures. So those who do wholesome actions will be born in heaven. So that is not rejected in the Buddhist teachings. But if somebody directs their ultimate goal in the spiritual life to be born as a deva, as a god, then that will become an obstacle for them to achieve enlightenment. And so at the time of the Buddha, a lot of disciples who achieved these certain stages of enlightenment were born in heavenly worlds, but they did not restrict their spiritual practice to that. They always went beyond that to achieve higher stages of enlightenment. So they were not restricted to these sensual heavenly pleasures in those worlds. So if somebody directs their practice just to be born in a heavenly world, that will become an obstacle, and that will prevent them from achieving enlightenment. So the Buddha said, this being so, their mind will not incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. So they will not strive because of that bond, because they will think, okay, I am practicing these precepts, then I have achieved what I want, because I will definitely be born in a heavenly world. So I have achieved my objective. So they will not strive beyond that to achieve enlightenment. And that desire to be born in a heavenly world because of that spiritual practice will become an obstacle for them to achieve enlightenment. And the fifth bond of the heart is yeah. So this is the fifth bond of the heart. So there are these five bonds, and these five spears in the heart which have to be abandoned and eradicated. So when a monk has not given up these five kinds of hard-heartedness, or these uh, spears in the heart and the bonds of the heart, it is not possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, or maturity in this teaching and training. And when a monk has given up these five kinds of uh, spears of the heart and the bonds of the heart, it is possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, and maturity in this teaching and training. And then he explained those who have given up these five kinds of spears and the five kinds of bonds. So if a monk has no doubt about the teacher, if they have faith towards, so this is why we have Shraddha, we have faith towards the Buddha. So it is important to have faith in the Buddha, so that so we'll be able to practice the path, practice virtue, concentration, wisdom. So a monk has no doubt about the teacher. They are not uncertain. They are not undecided or lacking confidence. They have confidence. They are certain, and they have decided to follow the Buddha's advice. So this being so, their mind will incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. Their minds will incline towards putting effort in the path and achieve enlightenment. So this is the first spear that they have given up. So you have to give up this spear in the heart uh, in order to practice the path and strive to achieve enlightenment. And they have no doubt about the teaching, the Buddha's teaching, the Dhamma, and they have no doubt about the Buddha's community, the monks and nuns, and they believe that Those who practice the path the Buddha taught achieve enlightenment. The monks who lived at the time of the Buddha, like Venerable Sariputta, they achieved full enlightenment. They achieved Nibbana. And they have no doubt about the Sangha. And they have no doubts about the training or the precepts. So they will understand that the Buddha laid down these precepts for a reason, because the Buddha knows how to achieve Nibbana, and the Buddha is supremely enlightenment, and he laid down these precepts for a reason. So even though uh, a person does not fully understand why the Buddha laid down these precepts, he will still practice these precepts out of faith towards the Buddha. So they will not have doubts towards the training or the precepts. And they are not angry and upset with their spiritual companions, not resentful or closed off. So they will have metta, loving kindness, towards towards the spiritual companions, those who are practicing the path together. So the monks, there are other monks in the community, and if a monk wants to develop the path, they have to have loving kindness towards other monks, those who are practicing the path. They also belong in the community. So if they are not angry and upset with their spiritual companions, uh, their mind will incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving, so that they won't have this obstacle. They will be able to achieve these stages of enlightenment gradually. So, so they have given up these five spears in the heart, so that they'll be able to practice the path and strive to achieve enlightenment. And the five shackles or five bonds that they have given up. The first one is a monk has uh, is is rid of greed, desire, fondness, thirst, passion, and craving for sensual pleasures. So a monk is rid of greed, desire, fondness, thirst, passion. So that inner thirst, inner fire has been put out. Has they have to give up. This monk has given up the uh, inner thirst for sensual pleasures, and they have dedicated their lives to practice the path, having given up these sensual pleasures. So that way they have removed that bond, because if somebody is attached to sensual pleasures, that will become a bond, and his mind will not inclines towards practicing the path. And the next one is a greed for the body. So in order to remove greed for the body, they have to develop kaya anupasana, mindfulness of the body, and to realize the impermanent nature and the impure nature of the body. So there is nothing truly valuable if you consider the entire spectrum of suffering, and the nature of samsara, the cycle of rebirth. This human life that we have right now is an opportunity to practice virtue, concentration, and wisdom. And if somebody is too attached to their body, they will spend time and effort protecting their body, and making their body attractive. So they will be too attached to their body, and will not practice the path, because if somebody wants to achieve enlightenment, they will have to practice the precepts. And for example, a monk has to refrain from taking food after noon, so he will only get the chance to eat before noon. So it's like 6 hours time during the day. So one a person who is to attach to the body will not like that, because they will think, okay, I need nutrients, I need food to sustain the body and to make it appear beautiful. So he will not practice that precepts, thinking that the body is more important for them than the practice. So if a monk has given up the greed for the body, then they will be able to practice the path. And the third one is they have given up greed for form. So anything that is material, they belong to form or rupa, and that is impermanent. So there is no point in its being attached to something impermanent. And that monk will think, what's the point in being attached to these forms, since they are impermanent? I'd rather practice the path and achieve enlightenment and escape from suffering. So so they will have more time, and they'll be able to put more effort to practice the path if they are not attached to form. So they have given up the form in order to achieve enlightenment. So this is the third shackle that they have given up. And they do not eat as much as they like until their belly is full, then indulge in the pleasures of sleeping, lying down, and drowsing. So they will eat just to sustain the body, and they will not uh, be lazy, and they will practice the path and put effort to practice meditation and cleanse their minds from these impurities and to purify their minds. So this is the fourth shackle or fourth bond that they have given up. And the fifth one is they do not lead the spiritual life hoping to be reborn in one of the orders of gods, thinking by this precept or observance or fervent austerity or spiritual life may I become one of the gods. So they will not think uh, that I am practicing this path to be born in this heavenly world. They will not take the heavenly world as the ultimate liberation. They will know that even though they will be born in a heavenly world, uh, because of practicing the path, but that is not the final objective. They have to go beyond that and achieve enlightenment, because the life of a god is also impermanent. There are gods in the world. After spending time in that heavenly world, they will be reborn in different realms according to their actions in the past. So they can even be born in hell. So it is very impermanent uh, to be born as a deva or god when you consider the cycle of rebirth. Uh, so if they are not, like, if their final objective is not to be born as a deva, and if their objective is to achieve enlightenment, then their mind will incline towards practicing the path, because you don't need to strive uh, and meditate to be born in a heavenly world. You just have to do wholesome things and be generous and be kind. And if you're like virtuous, then there is a good chance to be born as a deva. But that is not the final objective. One has to put a lot of effort to practice meditation and purify their minds. So if their final objective is not to be born as a deva, but to achieve enlightenment, to escape from suffering, then their minds will incline towards practicing the path. So this is the fifth shackle of the heart that they have given up. Uh, so the Buddha said, when a monk has given up these five kinds of uh, spears in the heart and the bonds of the heart, it is possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, or maturity in this teaching and training. And then the Buddha explained, those who have given up these five spears and the five bonds will develop, they are called Chattaro Iddhipada. Iddhipada. In Sinhala that is called Satara Irdhipada. That means the basis of psychic power. Here, psychic power means the power of an arahant, okay, the power of enlightenment. So there is a basis for the power of enlightenment, and even that. These are wholesome qualities. If somebody develops these wholesome qualities, they can even perform psychic powers, just like the Buddha and the arahants. They can fly in the sky. They can do all sorts of things uh, using their psychic powers if they develop these four kinds of these wholesome qualities. So they are called the power of chanda samadhi. Chanda means liking uh, to develop concentration. Chanda samadhi padana sankara samannagariddhipada. That is how it is explained in the Pali. So basically it means uh, the enthusiasm to achieve enlightenment. This is the first basis of spiritual power, and the second basis is energy, virya, and the next one is mental development, chitta, and the next one is vimansa. Vimansa means inquiry, to consider wisely. So these are the four bases for the spiritual power. If somebody develops these four bases, they can achieve enlightenment. So those who have given up these five spears and the five bonds will be able to develop these four bases for spiritual power and achieve enlightenment. So, so if someone has given up these five spears and given up these five bonds and have these four bases of spiritual power and vigor. Vigor means usaha. Usaha means the element of effort. That is also effort or trying. So if somebody has these qualities, they will be able to achieve enlightenment. Babbo abhinibbaya babbo sambodaya babbo uh, anuttarasya yogakhemasya adhigamaya. So it is very possible for them to achieve nibbana, achieve enlightenment, achieve the end of suffering. So the Buddha gave a simile. Suppose there was a chicken with 8 or 10 or 12 eggs, and she properly sat on them to keep them warm and incubated. Even if that chicken doesn't wish, if only my chicks could break out of the eggshell with their claws and beak and hatch safely. Still, they can break out and hatch safely. So, so the so the simile is there is a chicken uh, who's so a chicken has to sit on the eggs to keep them warm and incubated, and that chicken does not have the wish. He doesn't have the wish for its chicks to come out of the eggshells, but still the chicken is doing what has to be done. the chicken is sitting on the eggs and uh, keeping them warm. So that's what it has to do. And whether or not that chicken has that wish, the chicks will come out at the right time. So just like that, a monk who possesses these 15 factors, including vigor, that means he has given up these five spears in the heart and given up the five shackles or bonds, and he has these four bases of spiritual power, and he has utsaha. Uh, he tries hard to achieve enlightenment, and if a monk has these 15 factors, they are capable of breaking out, becoming awakened, and reaching the supreme sanctuary from the yoke. Or it means they are able to break the fetters and come out of this delusion and achieve supreme enlightenment. So they are capable of doing that, and they do not have to have the wish. Oh, may I achieve nibbana? Or may I be able to be free from suffering? So we have that wish when we develop loving kindness meditation. But if someone has these 15 factors, uh, they do not have to have that wish, but still they are capable of achieving enlightenment. So this is what the Buddha said, and all the monks approved what the Buddha said, and they rejoiced in the Buddha's words. So something we can understand from this sutta is that just like that chicken does not have to have the wish. If only my chicks could break out and come out of these eggshells, these chicks will be able to come out from these eggshells because it is doing what has to be done. So just like that, if a monk has all these wholesome qualities, whether or not they have the wish, they are capable of achieving enlightenment. So it is these wholesome qualities that are important. Uh, our wish is not the factor. It is not the factor to achieve enlightenment. If we have effort, and if you have faith towards the Buddha and have all these 15 qualities, then that person will be capable of achieving enlightenment. So we have to understand that in this human life, we have a certain amount of a limited time to learn these teachings and practice these wholesome qualities, because um, if if we fail to practice this path in this life, we might not get another chance in the future. So because this is a journey in samsara, so anything can happen. So there are a lot of beings who are being born as uh, animals and being born in bad destinations, in hell worlds. So it is important to be born in a heavenly realm, but that is not the final goal. We should be practicing the teachings of the Buddha to achieve enlightenment. So, the name of this sutta is Cetokhila Sutta. It's from Majjhima Nikaya. So this sutta number is sutta number 16. So I think this is a good sutta for us to contemplate on and practice, so that our lives will not be in vain when we pass away. So we will be able to achieve enlightenment as per the Buddha's teachings. So we will meet again next week. So if you have any questions, you can comment down in this uh, in this video in YouTube, or you can send me a personal message so we can discuss these topics in future lessons. Okay, so we will meet next week. Until then, take care. May all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.